100 years ago, the people of Akron, Ohio, had reason to celebrate the new year. In 1914, the city was in the midst of a population boom. 20,000 men worked in the rubber shops, and hundreds more arrived daily, exchanging life in the hills of Appalachia for industrial city living. Acrid rubber smoke mixed with the scent of simmering vats of cereal, as Quaker puffed wheat and rice right in the middle of downtown Akron. And from every mahogany row came the orders. More men, more buildings, more machinery, more tires. 1914 was the year that Mary Pickford became America's first bona fide movie star, and when Charlie Chaplin made his film debut. In 1914, George Herman Ruth put on a Boston Red Sox uniform for the first time. Two Akron businessmen, architect Milton Harpster and Goodrich executive Harry Bauman, each had the same good idea at the same time: to start a new social and civic club that placed service above self, with the motto, "He profits most who serves best." 31 men represented Akron's leadership in business, the professions, and civic life. Included were the publisher of the newspaper, the head of the city's major department store, the founder of the Acme grocery stores, and the city's most prominent funeral director. Their first meeting was held on February 17, 1914, at the best hotel in Akron, the Portage. Each week the men met for lunch, and once each month they would gather with their wives for dinner and dancing. They were boosters of Akron's burgeoning industrial might. They were a powerful network of the city's elite, and unlike other fraternal organizations and clubs, without regard to religious beliefs. Soon the world would intrude on them and all Americans. With the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand in Sarajevo in June 1914, war began in Europe. Though President Wilson professed neutrality, Akron factories would soon be booming to turn out material for war. By 1917, the Rotarians would support the men who would become part of the conflict. From its inception, Akron Rotary focused its humanitarian interests on young people, and from its very first year, focused on children with disabilities. At Christmas in 1914, Isaac Myers asked his fellow Rotarians to provide presents for the handicapped children of Akron. The holiday party that began 100 years ago has continued through the present day. By 1920, Akron had become the fastest-growing city in the United States, tripling its size in a single decade. And in response to Goodyear's heightened interest in aeronautics, Rotary even opened a clubroom at Shorty Fulton's Airport to serve visiting pilots. The Rotary Club of Akron purchased a used sedan to transport children with disabilities to Children's Hospital. Infantile paralysis was crippling hundreds of children, and polio would later become a full-blown epidemic. In 1924, two Rotarians began a legacy that has lasted 90 years. Hazelton Simmons, president of the University of Akron, who had a disabled child who died early in life, and Dr. Walter Hoyt, an orthopedic surgeon who treated children with disabilities, had a strong desire to organize a summer camp. The duo asked their fellow Rotarians to start a camp free of charge to meet the specific needs of children with polio and other physical disabilities. Rotarians and their spouses were active in caring for the children. While Rotary Camp has always been the central focus of the Akron Club, at their weekly meetings, Rotarians quite literally brought the world to their luncheons. As men from Akron's Big Four rubber companies traveled overseas, they would share their stories about happenings in Europe and Asia with Rotarians. In the 1930s, the focus of weekly meetings was trying to help the newly impoverished gain employment. In the 1940s, a popular topic was how businessmen could help win the peace, and Rotary was heavily involved in the war chest drives and the sale of war bonds in Akron. Weekly meetings had moved from the historic Portage to Akron's grandest downtown hotel, the Mayflower. Always, through every year of every decade of the 20th century, Akron Rotary continued its support of its camp. In 1955, the club erected the Walter Hoyt Recreation Hall and built new concrete block cabins in 1959. The Heselton Simmons Lodge was constructed in 1963. With advances in medicine, the campers served at Rotary Camp also changed. It became more than a camp for children with physical disabilities. In 2005, the Rotary Camp Board of Trustees officially changed the name to Rotary Camp for Children with Special Needs. The camp employed a professional staff, a director, and counselors trained to handle the specific needs of special needs children. What did not change were campers, who have continued to develop lifelong skills and increased independence. Dr. Simmons and Hoyt's philosophies are still in place. Rotary Camp does not turn any camper away for an inability to pay. In 1990, Akron Rotary began another tradition, to dedicate the proceeds of an annual fundraiser to benefit the Rotary Camp. The Wayne Holmes Chili Open is held in February each year. In 2014, nearly 1,000 polar bear golfers converged on Hale Farm, which was transformed into 4 9-hole golf courses. Since its beginning, the Wayne Holmes Chili Open has raised over $2 million to support the Rotary Camp for Children with Special Needs. In the new century, Akron Rotarians launched a major campaign to redevelop the entire camp with new cabins, new buildings, to serve a growing number of families, not only in the summer but throughout the year. In 2013, Rotary completed a $3.5 million capital campaign that includes a new bathhouse, a new Simmons Lodge, 7 cabins rebuilt with heating and air conditioning and dedicated space for counselors, and the new Rennick and D'Andreoli Recreation and Resource Center, a 2-story multipurpose building that includes rooms for group activity, conferences, a nurse's lodge, and a nature center. The year-round programs now include respite weekends so that campers can see their camp friends and provide their caregivers a much-needed break. The new Rotary Camp for Children with Special Needs crowns 100 years of service. As the Akron Rotary Club looks back over 10 decades of serving the greater Akron community, in 2014, Akron Rotary is honoring the past and driving the future.